Welcome to the Pastor Chira Show. I'm Pastor Chira, and today we launch. We launch into new territory. We launch into new relationship. We launch into new mindset. Are you ready to launch out with me? Come on and launch out as we go into this conversation on today. And today we are still in our conversations from the 2022 Pastors and Leaders Summit. And with today being the last day of Mental Health Awareness Month, listen, while we were there, we were honored and privileged for Dr. Stacia Wilkins to come in and talk with us about some mental health things that she sees in practice and how it all ties together spiritually as well as naturally. So sit back, take a look, and listen to Dr. Stacia Wilkins. We'll be back. Yeah, we have to self-reflect.
Yeah.
If we're ever going to get to any place of healing, wholeness, wellness, healthiness, if we don't look at us first to say something's not right, something's a little off, we'll never even start the process. And so, first I want you to introduce yourself to the viewing audience, because I know who you are. And we're having this conversation, but they don't know who you are. So I want everyone to know who you are.
So I am Dr. Stacia K. Wilkins. I am a mental health counselor or psychotherapist, as well as a mental health consultant. My passion right now is leadership wellness and really doing that internal work of self-reflection. I have over 18 years of experience as a therapist. I own my own private practice and consulting business. I am also a professor at Drexel University as well as Jefferson University. So what I do basically, I help to mobilize leaders to implement strategies that reduce burnout so that they can reignite their purpose and their vision. That's my heart and my passion. Burnout.
Out.
Yes.
It can be after a short time of working, a long time of working, a minute, what in the burnout, what have you seen in leadership? And I'm going to preface that in ministerial leadership. That leads to, what are some of the signs and signals that you see that leads to burnout in ministry?
So I think across the board, burnout, it manifests in 3 different areas, and this includes leadership as well. The first one is emotional exhaustion. So irritability, anger, constant sadness, just lack of motivation. So emotional exhaustion is that first area. That second area is what we call depersonalization. So as a result of feeling that emotional exhaustion, so let's just say you're feeling, really, really tired. What do you want to do when you're tired? You want to go somewhere and lay down. You want to sleep, and you withdraw.
Yeah.
So that depersonalization, because you are emotionally exhausted, you pull away from relationships. And what's interesting about leadership, especially with pastoral leadership or leadership in a church, we can pull away here, but we're still connected physically. So, but there's still a pulling away, and a lot of times we don't see that our leaders or our pastors have pulled away. They've disconnected. And then as a result of that disconnection, that depersonalization, then we reach something that's called, it's like a relationship detachment that causes reduced sense of accomplishment. So because you're exhausted, you pull away, and then you feel some type of way about yourself because you're like, I'm not even accomplishing anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm not operating the way that I used to. And that really attacks your sense of purpose and vision. Then why am I here anyway? What am I doing this
Right.
for?
Right.
You know, and I've seen that across the board, whether it's in corporate, nonprofit, or you know, pastoral leadership as well. So the faces can look differently depending on the venue or you know the organization, but the symptoms are about.
They're there.
Yeah.
They're there.
Mm-hmm.
And are they noticeable? Are they noticeable to the outside before the person that is going through it
Mm-hmm.
sees it, or is it something that's recognizable for those that are going through it,
Mm-hmm.
and we just don't know how to manage it?
I think you raised two powerful points, that it is not always recognized by the people who are watching the leader because they don't always know what to look for. And it's also not recognized because the leader is not always transparent. And not to say that they don't have to put everything out there, you know, but they're not transparent. And it's important for that communication to happen, you know, so it is very hard to see. Now for a trained eye, I can tell if someone is burned out, right? Because I've been trained to do so and I have that experience. But what's very important too with leadership, a lot of leaders don't understand, oh, I need to do this internal work of self-reflection.
Right.
They don't understand that. That's not for me.
They're not.
I have to take care of my
Everybody else.
people.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have to take care of me. But the greatest form of leadership is self-leadership.
That's right.
But we've been taught to lead others. Even if we look at the research, for example, when I did my dissertation, I did my dissertation on leadership and self-care.
Mm.
So really examining the psychological well-being of leaders. But I wanted to come from a different perspective because we're often prepared to serve our people. We're prepared to build teams. We're prepared for conflict resolution, right? But we're not prepared to look inward and see what's really going on. And what I found in my research, it was so appalling. There was very little research on the psychological well-being of the leader. So it's like my question was, well, who looks out for the bosses?
Right.
The bosses look out for the team, but who looks out for them?
Right.
What about them? You know, they're people too. And that's why I love how we started our conversation, because you stepped into a very brave place with what you shared with me. And you stepped into a vulnerable place with what you shared with me, because you could have gone on with your assumptions, with your experience, because that was your experience, right? And I would have never known.
Never know.
But now that I know, and we were able to connect, you did a deep work just like that as a leader. And that's what we have to do as leaders, look in and see what's really going on.
What if that's a scary thing to do?
Yeah.
And I don't want to see me
Mm-hmm.
in order to have a me change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you, as a trainer, see it, recognize that they're not ready yet?
Mm-hmm.
So now what do we do to help them
Yeah.
get ready, be ready, and do the work and help them through the process?
Good question. I try to break down things in a very practical way. When we talk about, because kind of what you're asking, it refers to stigma, really. You know, how do we think about mental health? How do we think about our own mental health? And two things are that really break down stigma are education and contact. So, so if I educate you, you know, providing you with information, we're talking through some tactics or whatever, then you come to understand, okay, this is what's really going on. And then when you have contact, you're connecting, you know, with people, you're connecting to resources, you're accessing resources, then that really dismantles the stigma. For instance, a lot of people are afraid to look at their pain, as you brought up, right?
Right.
But why? Because we think that emotions are going to kill us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're not.
They're not.
You know, so if we can, here's the education piece, if we can look at emotions as informants.
Absolutely.
Versus my enemy.
Yes.
It's an informant. And when we look at education, we haven't been in the church. We haven't been educated too well about emotion. There is a theology of emotion. You know, if we really study Christ, we see he was very emotional. But we say that, no, we can't be emotional.
Yes. Listen, when he left the Last Supper, and he went to the mountain, and he said, if it be thy will,
let this cup pass from me. And here's the other thing, and this, you know, bringing that up, the deeply emotional state that he was in, he was so traumatized to the point his sweat glands opened up so much to bleed blood. None of us bleeding blood when we going through stuff. You know, we might cry, we get upset, we might holler, scream, hit a wall. Ain't nobody bleeding blood. But we say that we can't be emotional. Like, come on, you know. And another thing about, you know, when we deal with that, I try to make this distinction because I think it's important. We use the terms emotion and feelings interchangeably, right? And emotion is really just a bodily sensation. It's a physiological sensation. Feelings is how we appraise the bodily sensation. So for instance, if you were to go into the supermarket and you're standing in line and somebody in front of you, they just happen to step back on your toe and you're like, oh my gosh, that hurts. What goes through your body immediately?
It's a whole sensation.
Right, it's pain.
Yes,
that's the first thing that you're feeling,
and
right?
You feel it all
exactly. You feel it hurts. Your toe is like throbbing right now, right? But if the person doesn't even turn around and say, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, you'll probably be angry, irritated, annoyed, right? Same situation, but that person turns around and says, I'm so sorry, I didn't even see you there.
It's okay.
It's okay. That's how you appraise what was going on in your body. And I think that's so important. We use our emotion. We feel that we don't have control over our emotions and our feelings. And we really do. Just take them as, okay, I'm feeling this way or my body feels this way. What's going on?
So that was just a bit of some of our conversation, but we need to go to a commercial break. And on the other side, you're going to hear more from Dr. Stacia Wilkins. We will be right back. Hi, everyone. This is Pastor Chira, and I want to invite you to subscribe to the Pastor Chira Show YouTube channel because we are about to bring you exclusive footage from the 2022 Pastors and Leaders Summit. I want you to go to our YouTube channel. I want you to go to our Facebook page. I want you to go to our Instagram page. And I want you to subscribe. I want you to follow us. I want you to be with us because you don't want to miss this footage that's about to come from the Pastors and Leaders Summit 2022. I need you to do it. Go now, go now, go now. Subscribe, follow us because you're about to get vaccine footage from the Pastors and Leaders Summit. The Pastor Chira Show. Find it, like it, follow it, subscribe. I'll see you soon. We are back, and we're heading right back in to our conversation with Dr. Stacia Wilkins. Listen, I hope you're getting something out of this because she's pouring out her heart for each and every one of us. So sit back, relax, take a listen, take it all in as you listen to Dr. Stacia Wilkins. Let's go.
With me right now. Why am I feeling this way? What caused me to feel this way? You know, we can, and I'm sure you probably experienced this, you wake up, you're having a really good day, you know, you go to work or do whatever, everything's great, and out of nowhere, you just start to feel down.
Yeah.
You know?
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And what do? We keep going on throughout our day.
I gotta push.
Exactly.
I gotta push.
Instead of saying, hold on, let me stop. Okay, I was fine a few hours ago. Now I'm not feeling too great. What happened in the last few minutes?
Yep.
And then we got to go back and deal with that. We are so equipped to deal with our emotions, but we don't believe that we have the tools or the resources to do so. They are just informants. And they pass. That's another thing. They pass. Emotions have a life of 30 to 60 seconds before you go to the next one.
That's it? Mm-hmm. No, but it's got a limit. It stays.
It may come back, but it has an ebb and a flow. 30 to 60, longest 30 to 60 seconds of your life. But they have an ebb and a flow. They don't stay with us because our chemistry, our body chemistry is constantly changing. You know, what thoughts, we get thousands of thoughts through our head a day. They're just flowing. We just gotta flow with them.
Go with the flow.
Yeah.
We gotta go with the flow. Listen, because we have so much that we could tap into, because this conversation is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just necessary for leaders and pastors, but it's necessary, for individuals.
Absolutely.
Because we really need to see ourselves and deal with the different things. Listen, that you said some things just sitting here, and I'm like, ooh, that's me. Ooh, that's me. Ooh, that's me too. Ooh, I do that. Oh, right? And recognizing our patterns, our triggers. But one thing that you did that I heard was a change of language.
Mm. Yes. Yeah.
You changed, not the definition, but you changed the language. It's informants. And if we can see and recognize and change our language, just like they say, you know, in childhood, stop calling your children bad.
Right.
Right? That, you know, because we've been calling them bad for so long, it just rolls off our tongue. It's just what we say. We gotta stop calling our children bad.
Yeah.
We have to stop calling these feelings, these emotions. We have to stop calling them and having them be negative, but it really being positive to help us to get where we gotta get.
And it's so true. And with what you're saying, you're reminding me of the branch of psychology. You probably heard of it, called positive psychology. And it really flips pathology on its head and talks about what are the upsides, you know, to some of these things. And when you look at something, let's think about someone who suffers from depression, right? We're constantly thinking, oh, they're just sad and hopeless and doomed. You know, there's so much like rumination going on with depression, constant thinking over and over again about the same things. But if we look on the upside of depression, how can you employ those same things, those same symptoms to work for you?
Yes.
You can take rumination, and that person would be highly analytical.
Right.
So then you can take those analytical skills to solve your problem.
Not stay in the ditch.
That's it. But we just see stay in the ditch.
Yes.
This is where I am. This is how I feel. And I'm not saying in any regard dismiss how you feel.
Exactly.
No, give yourself time to do that.
Because how you feel is informant.
It is.
It's your informant.
It's letting you know about you.
Exactly.
You know. And one thing I tell my clients, and I honestly do this myself. Have a bad day, something goes wrong. Listen, have a whole pity party. Go get a cake, get some balloons, get some confetti, throw it all up in ice cream. There you go. So, strawberry cheesecake, Ben and Jerry's for me. You go get all of that. But you know what? You have your party and you give yourself a time frame.
That's right.
It's 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or a couple hours. After that, you clean up all that confetti, throw the rest of that cake or ice cream away, and you jump back in the living.
There you go.
And that's what we have to do. Absolutely.
That's exactly what we have to do. But we honestly have to change our language. Because we don't come to church for somebody to tell us how bad it is. And
everybody's looking for hope.
Everybody's
When they call us hope dealers,
right.
You're a pastor, hope dealers. Like, we are hope dealers, and then we don't even have hope. Like, no.
Yeah, that's not. I'm giving you something that I don't have. How does that work?
Come on.
How does that work?
Come on.
But before we go, you have done an amazing work.
Yes.
You have a book.
I
that
do.
is out.
I do.
That is amazing. I have my signed copy. I don't know about you, but I have my signed copy.
You were at my signing. Yes, you were.
Can you tell the viewers just a little bit about your book?
Sure. So my book is called Get Up. It's a 30-day devotional, and it's based on the story in Mark 5, where Jairus' daughter, she got ill, and she ended up dying, and Jesus resurrected her. As basically the synopsis of the story. But what God led me to do was go from the time before she gets sick and journey all the way to when she's resurrected, or life after resurrection. And what's so amazing about this work is that I took this journey. This started out as a 30-day journey for me. But my 30 days turned into like a year and a half.
That's a long 30 days.
That's a long 30 days. So that was my prayer time. But what God showed me, because at the time, I was finishing up my doctorate and had a lot of stuff going on. I had just lost my grandmother. Was very close to her. And I was hit with a bout of depression. And all God would say to me was, get up, get up, get up. And I'm like, God, why are you telling me this? I mean, I know that's what he says, but he had to remind me of my name. Stacia comes from Anastasis, which is, I think it's Greek or Latin. Literally means rise up, get up.
No way.
Yeah. So whenever he would speak my name, he would speak a command to me, resurrect, get up. So this journey was not just about this girl's journey, but I interject some of myself in there as well. That this is about, life has the ability to lay us down, lay us out even, and we go from so many things can infect us and make us ill, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, whether it's spiritual, and we need healing. They have the potential, not the authority, but the potential to kill us. And this book takes you on a journey. I throw some therapy questions in there as well, because it really is a journey, And by the end, it is, you've gone through your entire process to understand that no matter what life brings, no matter how anything can knock you down, you can get up.
You can't get up. And all of that is a part of everything that we've been talking about. It's self-reflection, looking at ourselves, doing it in a deeper dive, and even the surface dive, because sometimes we can't go deep. I can only handle this right here. I can't go there. I can only handle this at the moment. And then once I get to this, maybe I can go a little deeper.
And that's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. It's okay to do your 30-day devotional in a year and a half. That's okay.
Listen, it's okay. It's okay.
Because it takes us time to process.
Yeah, and we need that.
And we need the time to process. So what I heard you say is, yes, it may be a 30-day devotional, but it may take you a little more time to process what you're going through.
Absolutely.
What you're going through.
Absolutely.
Even when you sit down and you're writing things out and you're and you're reading it, right? The stuff that in the process of doing it, sometimes you'll do a day, and you might have to put it down for a couple days.
Yeah.
But don't leave it there. Get up.
Get up.
And pick it up.
Pick it up and get up. That's it. Yes.
Get up and pick it up.
Absolutely.
So where can they get your book, and how can people be in touch with you?
Sure. So you can pick up my book on Amazon.com. Barnes and Noble has my book as well. And you can follow me on Instagram. I am Dr. Stay. On Facebook, Dr. Stay. And my website is www.dararenterprises.org. That's DARARENTERPRISES.org. I think I spelled that right.
We'll post it. We make sure
Yes.
we'll post it. This has been an honor. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
A long time coming, and I thank you for even allowing me this moment, this time, to sit and talk with you and to glean from you, because you are amazing.
Appreciate that. So God be the glory.
Because the things that you say, the things that you do, where you strategically place yourself, because you don't go everywhere.
You can't.
That's a whole nother.
It is.
I hope that you received what God had for you in this conversation with Dr. Wilkins. She has given us so much. And I really hope in this month, as we wrap up this month of mental health awareness, that you take the time and you take the opportunity to get that assistance that you may need. Find somebody that you can talk to. Find someone that you can pour out to, so that we can all be holistically healthy. I'm Pastor Chira. This is the Pastor Chira Show, and I'll see you next week. God bless. Coming up on the Pastor Chira Show.
I have no clue.
You know, we was the kids.
We were.
We was the kids just doing this because this is what we like.
Exactly.
And we having fun.
Exactly.
And, you know, this is what we're good at.
Exactly.
And, yes. And now, we're where, like you said, was it you that said it? But we're where those that we wanted, those that we aspire to be like,
Who they are.
we're who they, yes. We are now who they were. We are who they were.
Yep.
And more.
And more. It's crazy.
And more. Like, did you ever really think that you would be in this place?